Okay, so we're back to the Black Lives Matter subject, which, as I've mentioned before, I do not like talking about it. I'm here under duress because I feel like it's something I have to talk about. This is something that's been weighing on my mind. And when something's weighing on my mind that I feel like I should talk about and I don't talk about it, it prohibits me from talking about anything. So until I unblock this blockage, I'm gonna probably be silent altogether. So I'd rather not be silent. I'm just gonna have to bite the bullet and talk about this. So what's been bothering me, what's bothering me today is this whole cancel culture thing. And I put it into quotations because I'm not exactly sure if cancel culture is a thing. That again, people slap the word culture on all sorts of things nowadays. Like I was looking at OkCupid yesterday and they said something there was, apparently the website asks a bajillion questions and asked a question, "Do you like disapprove of swipe left culture?" I was like, "That's a culture now?" Like is doing things a culture? Is there like a using the bathroom culture or like eating culture because we do it a lot. Anyway, so I don't know. The word culture seems to be thrown around a lot. And so now we've got a cancel culture. Honestly, to me, and I'm not someone who spends a lot of time on social media or Twitter, which I feel like is the hotbed of quote cancel culture. I feel like cancel culture is a unpleasant nickname for people facing the consequences of their actions and the things they say and do. I guess that's a negative thing to some people. But like I said, I'm not really deep into that, platform, so I don't know, maybe there is some weird, conspiracy or people take it too far. Oh, I forgot to mention I was canceled one day. Now, I was canceled a while ago and for, like, a day before cancel culture was, prevalent. This was years ago. I was on Twitter and by the way, even if it wasn't that big of a deal, it wasn't fun when it was happening. I'll tell you that. So I was on Twitter back when I'm on Twitter every day for work, but I was leisurely on Twitter. I remember I was just starting my shift at work and I was looking at the trending topics for my area. And one of the topics was Yanni, Yanni. And I'm thinking, oh, the Greek new age music guy who was with Linda Evans? Um, and so I was kind of I don't know, I was obnoxious on Twitter back then. And I can't remember what there was something else in trending topics. I cannot remember what else it was. And so for whatever reason, because I was a smartass on Twitter, I just randomly wrote some tweet about Yanni was like water skiing with blank, whoever the other person on trending topics was. And I don't even know what that means now. I'm not sure why I said that, but um I was marrying the 2 trending topics in my mind. I don't know. I thought maybe more people would click on it or something because it had 2 trending topics in the tweet. So, yeah, it was literally something like, "Yeah, I saw Yanni, like, water skiing on the back of blank so and so who was also on trending topics." And I soon found out that apparently Yanni was not referring to the musician of the 90s or 80s or whatever, but was referring to some girl who had been shot and killed in Chicago. So that didn't turn out very well. And so it would started off with a little trickle, like, "What? What are people tweeting me, "What are you saying? How dare you disrespect the memory of Yanni?" And I'm like, He's alive. I swear he is." And, and then it turned into like a deluge. I just remember sitting through my whole shift at work and just being like, "Oh my god, like, I can't believe what's happening." So I was getting, like, hundreds of tweets. People were retweeting. I remember someone retweeting it and saying, announcing, "So and so is disrespecting Yanni," which I'm sorry, that sounds so funny to me now because I only think about the musician guy. And how dare I insult the musician Yanni? And, um and at first I was like, "Okay, I'm just not gonna say anything." So I kind of just let it go. I mean, I was still stressing out. Believe me, I was like, I think I had a panic attack. I was stressing out and, um, people I was like, "Okay, but I'm not gonna do anything because it would look weird if I got all defensive and was tweeting people and arguing and stuff." But finally, a couple hours in, I said, "Okay, maybe it would help." That's funny. Maybe it would help if I made an announcement and said, "Okay, please, I'm sorry, you misunderstood what I said. Yanni is," and I said something like, "Yanni is a '90s musician, and I was talking about him. I didn't mean to talk about this other person." And it's so stupid. I don't know. It's so funny to me. People literally were tweeting me, "That's a lie." No, I think they were saying to me, maybe they were saying, "That's a lie. You meant to be talking about this dead girl." But it came off as, "That's a lie. Yanni's not a musician from Greece," or something. Just I don't know, that sounded so funny to me and so ridiculous that I was like, "Okay, this is the dumbest." It's like someone saying to me, "I've never heard of Beethoven, therefore you're lying that Beethoven exists." Like, it's so preposterous to me. But anyway, it went on, like, pretty well into the night, but it kind of ended the next day, and, I mean, obviously, I'm not anyone, so I didn't suffer any real consequences. Um, I didn't lose my job, like, my life was fine, but it was always just something to remember, like, "Oh boy, that was a bad day." And on a side note, I I think one of my fears about being famous is being misunderstood. Well, just in general, I don't wanna be misunderstood, and when you have any kind of notoriety, being misunderstood is guaranteed, and I honestly, being misunderstood is on a serious note, being misunderstood is one of my greatest fears. When somebody doesn't understand what I meant by saying something or writing something, and taking offense to it, and I hate that because I really don't wanna offend people, or at least not good people, and to have somebody misunderstand me, I hate that so much, and so, yes, that was definitely a case of misunderstanding, and it traumatized the hell out of me. That being said, you would think having an experience like that, I would hate cancel culture and, because I was, I guess if you want to be dramatic, you could say I was a victim of the early iterations of cancel culture. Even though I wasn't really canceled. I mean, no one, yeah, like I said, it lasted about a day. There were no long-standing consequences. No one ever mentioned it. No one added me ever again. They got it out of their system and it was done. And I imagine with the current situation, I think, maybe if you were canceled like a year ago or 6 months ago, that would have been pretty damning for you. But I think now that it's become so commonplace that there is life after cancellation. Not that I'm saying that it should be. I think there's some people who, shoot, bury them, I don't care. Um But anyway, so yeah, so I have been canceled, I guess. But I was thinking about this. There's this Twitch channel. I'm really weird. I don't play video games, but I love watching people play video games. So I watch a lot of Twitch and I've really made a strong return to Twitch during the pandemic. Um, and there's this channel that I love on Twitch, and I'm not gonna say the name, but this person has created a character. I mean, yeah, they play video games and stuff, but it's sort of a live theater in a way because they've created a character and they've created this whole scenario and situation that their character is in, and it really transports you to another place. I mean, it feels like they thought of everything. They really when you're watching their channel, you really feel like it's like a Disney program or something. I mean, it's this very innocent, but there's also, the double entendres and the adult undertones, but it is I mean, you can watch it with your kids. It's a very innocent feeling place, and it really I think adults really respond to it because it is kind of like watching a cartoon or something, like a Saturday morning cartoon, but you curse once in a while and, make sex jokes, and it's lovely. And also, I think they created a really good atmosphere for where everyone sort of loves each other. I mean, we've also referred to it as a cult. People refer to it as a cult in a lovingly way, but it is this atmosphere of like heightened, positive emotions and love, and everyone's loving each other, and, all these strangers coming together and being so happy, intensely happy and warm to each other. Um, Thus adding to that sort of surreal Disney kind of feeling that it has. So I was obsessed with this channel. It's on like 3 or 4 days a week, and I was there on time, and I watched every minute of it, even if I needed to go to sleep and stuff. Um, and I think a lot of people are very loyal to it, but I just haven't been able to watch it. And now this sort of has to do with my weird perfectionism and my judgmentalness. I mean, I could have an issue with this person's channel and still watch it, but once something, isn't clean in the milk, I have a hard time sticking with it. So I find myself missing more and more broadcasts because there's something that's bothering me. And namely, it is this person who generally I mean, definitely has liberal is pretty open with their liberal ideas and liberal leanings and stuff, but in a lot of ways, it's sort of an apolitical stream. So we're not talking about issues that much. So once in a while, and it seems sort of out of place in this happy-go-lucky Disney situation, they'll make these jokes about cancel culture and about being canceled. And, I don't know, there'll be a character in the video game and they do something wrong, and the person streaming will say, "Yeah, cancel her. Yeah," and making a joke about people being canceled. And it's not as they say in comedy, it's not a punching up, it's a punching down kind of thing. We're not making fun of people saying dumb things and getting punished for it. We're making fun of the people who call people out for saying dumb things. We're mad at the punishment. And that's my issue with a lot of the people, or most of the people that bring up quote cancel culture, is that they seem way more concerned and outraged about the cancellation than the reason for the cancellation. And that is such a red flag for me. I mean, it's really a red flag because, for this person in particular on Twitch, because anyone who kind of out of nowhere feels the need to bring up cancel culture and deride it makes me feel like this person feels it's coming. They see their own cancellation is coming. And so they're going to, rather than come out ahead and say, "I'm really sorry for what I did." And I don't know. I don't look at their social media or anything, so I don't know what they've been doing in the past. But they don't. I feel like rather than they're not going to be. They haven't picked the path of coming out and apologizing ahead of time, or when something comes out, they're gonna say, "I'm really sorry. I didn't mean." Well, I didn't mean that, but I'm sorry I did that, and I apologize, and I'm sorry that I've offended you, and not I'm sorry if you were offended. Keep that clear. So there doesn't seem to be any contrition. It seems like they're gonna they're gonna come out ahead of it to devalue cancellation before it happens to them. So the people being canceled, I think they feel some sort of kinship with those people, no matter how much they dislike them or disagree with them or how crappy those people are. For example, I don't think this person agrees with the things that J.K. Rowling is saying, but I think they feel, well, I'm going to be treated the same way that J.K. Rowling was. And so I might as well insult the institution of cancel culture and holding people accountable, so that when it happens to me, I don't know, somehow I will have taken some of the piss out of it first. So, and that concerns me. I mean, I'm not necessarily concerned that this person has something in their background that's not good, because I think we all do, including myself. Um, but I'm concerned that they are not sorry about it. And when it does come out, they're definitely not gonna be sorry about it, or if they do post some fake apology, they're not gonna mean it. Um, and there are people, and also when they bring it up, there are people in the chat who are very, "Oh, yeah, cancel culture, meh, meh, meh." They definitely join on that bandwagon of, "Yeah, holding people accountable for their actions. How terrible." And that makes me uncomfortable. I don't like being in that situation where we were all friends, but if someone were to insult me, my culture, my gender, my whatever, that these people are gonna be, siding or at least sympathizing with whoever is gonna make the insult. And so I just don't wanna be around that anymore. But the thing is, and maybe it's the people I hang out with or, associate with, I feel like this cancel culture thing seems to be more more of a concern of liberals, or I'm seeing more of a backlash from liberals. I mean, obviously conservatives don't like it because in so many ways they've been the target of it, but also I'm seeing a lot of people who present themselves as liberal having an issue with it, and I wonder why. Um, I ultimately, I feel like they feel I know white people who liberal white people who like to talk about their privilege. They like to bring it up. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that because they certainly have it, and I'm glad that they acknowledge it. They wanna bring it up first. They don't want you to bring it up. They don't want they don't want anyone else bringing up their privilege, without, pre-written consent and before, it's been looked over by their lawyers in writing first. If you bring up their privilege, and I don't go around yelling at people at their privilege, but if I see when people bring up their privilege and they weren't expecting it, oh no, that's no good. No bueno. They don't like that at all. Um, they'll allow you they'll allow, oh yeah, I have privilege, but if you bring up a privilege they weren't even aware of yet, oh, that's not good. The number one rule of privilege is don't talk about privilege. Don't know it's there, don't acknowledge it's there when you find out about it, and no one talk about it. We'll all keep it quiet. Um, and I feel like this sort of liberal backlash against cancel culture is these white liberals circling their wagons and getting ready to protect themselves because they feel that their privilege liberage, there's a word, there's a coin phrase, their privilege, liberal privilege, liberage is about to be encumbered upon. They feel it's coming a little too close. And, they kinda they wanna be down with us amongst the people and stuff, but, don't get too close. They want their 6 feet of space of privilege untouched. And, I think they're responding to this idea of, "Oh, I just realized my laptop's been unplugged. Hold on a moment." I don't even know how that happened. Um, yeah, I think liberals, white liberals are more afraid of cancel culture than if not more than anyone else. Because it's gonna strip their mask away. It'll take away that little bit of privilege that they've allowed themselves. And, yeah. And then, I mean, then there's I'm not saying it's all white people who don't like cancel culture, um, but that's the vast majority. It's people with some sort of privilege, and it tends to be white. That's who I see. I'm not saying that's all of it. Um, and then, of course, it might be a different video altogether, but there's definitely the people of color who want to defend these people who are being called out. But really, I mean, I don't I guess in conclusion, I don't see the problem with cancellation. As long as no one's getting murdered for it or whatever, I don't see basically what cancellation to me looks like, and I could be wrong, it looks like people facing the consequences of their actions. And I literally don't know what the problem is with that. How are consequences wrong? I mean, I guess some people think, well, oh, it doesn't allow people to learn and blah blah blah. Well, if you haven't learned yet, isn't that a problem? Isn't that kind of a you problem if you haven't learned yet that, what not to say or do or stuff yet? I mean, you've probably seen other people be quote canceled, so maybe you could have learned something at that point. Maybe, yeah. I mean, I was dating a guy, a Caucasian, and this is when Hidden Figures came out. And, in case if you haven't seen my other videos, I am a woman of color. Well, not that you've seen me in other videos, but I have said that I am a woman of color. And, um, when Hidden Figures came out, he saw it, I don't know, with a friend or something, and, like, out of nowhere sent me this kind of long text message about, "I just watched Hidden Figures and I can't believe, like, the kind of things those women had to go through, and that's so unfortunate." I mean, he stopped short of apologizing to me, but there was definitely this, like, white guilt of, "Oh my god, I can't believe this is what you all have to deal with." And it was sweet. I won't lie and say, like, that I hated it or anything. I thought that was nice of him to say that to me. But at the same time, to be 40, granted, this person is older than me. At the time, he was 46, I wanna say, and to be 46 and suddenly come to the realization that, gee, it's been kind of hard for Black women in the United States, that is suspect. That is a problem for me. And if these people are not learning and they need, someone to hold their hand, and cancel culture is too harsh for them and stuff, they're not going to learn if we don't hold their hands and guide them through this. If you've been in America this long and watched all these Black men and women being, ritually sacrificed on film through the last several years, and not saying that it just started, it's now being caught on film. If you lived through all this and you're still just learning or discovering that there's an issue here, that's a you problem. That's not our problem. And if we're going to call you out on it, or someone's going to call you out on it, eh, Kanye shrug. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, maybe you should get to learning. I mean, I went through quite an extensive learning phase. I knew that I had to learn. I had a lot of stuff to learn. Um, and I literally sat down and I would, like, go on. I was specifically Tumblr. That tells you what year it was. I would go on Tumblr and educate myself. And it wasn't because anyone called me out and said, "You don't know shit about, trans rights," or whatever. Like, I just decided there's a hotbed of information here and I need to learn this. And not, like, for fear that I'm gonna say the wrong thing in the future and get canceled. No, I just knew that there's a bunch of stuff I do not know and I don't understand, and it's my job to learn these things. I didn't ask anyone. You know, I think one time I direct messaged somebody to ask them about something they had posted, and they explained it to me very nicely, but I it wasn't their responsibility. I wasn't like, "Tell me about this thing." Um, I educated myself, and I don't know, maybe I'm being, too harsh on people who haven't had the experiences that I have, and that's definitely a thing with me. I get frustrated with people who aren't as intelligent as I am, or who haven't done, the work that I've done. Um, but yeah, I call it consequences, and I don't think consequences are a bad thing. Um, famous last words, someone might find something horrible that I've done in the past and call me out on it, but honestly, I feel like if that happens, I'm gonna be like, "Yeah, you got me. You're totally right. I'm sorry." And believe me, I'm not gonna ask you to teach me. I'm gonna go off to my, cubby and figure it out. And if you wanna help me, that's fine. So yeah, I think people are afraid of consequences, and I think that's a them problem. So that's my video. Have a lovely day. I'll probably be back. I always say that at the end of the videos and then I don't come back. But anyway, I think, yeah, this other subject that sort of came up in my mind, I think that needs its own separate video. So BRB.